Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and today we take a peek inside the chilling disappearance of a young woman whose fate remains unknown after more than 2 decades, leaving behind only unanswered questions in the chilling silence of her absence. This is the story of Patrece Lashelle Alston. June 23rd, 1998. The day 19-year-old Patrece of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, mysteriously disappeared. At the time, Patrece had dropped out of high school and had been living with her sister, helping care for her niece and nephew. She had her whole life ahead of her, until the day she climbed into a green Mazda 626 with a man she thought she knew, Lucious Boyd. Boyd, a 39-year-old handyman, wasn't just an ordinary acquaintance. His violent tendencies were well known, and his name would later be connected to a string of unsolved disappearances. But back in June 1998, Patrece had no way of knowing just how dangerous he truly was. Boyd told investigators that he and Patrece were headed to Winter Haven, Florida, a 200-mile drive. He said she intended to return the same day. But as the hours passed, the silence only grew louder. Patrece never returned home. No phone calls, no messages, nothing. Not long after, Boyd returned home alone, offering a vague story. He said he had dropped her off at her grandmother's house, or maybe a nearby grocery store, but refused to give more details. Days stretched into weeks, and still, no word from Patrece. She wasn't just missing, she had seemingly just vanished into the night, leaving behind no clues or traces as to where her whereabouts might be. Meanwhile, Lucious Boyd's story didn't hold up. Authorities would later uncover the truth about Boyd's past, one stained with violence and suspicion. In 1998, Boyd was convicted of murdering Danya DaCosta, a 21-year-old student and choir singer. He was sentenced to death for her brutal killing and currently sits on death row awaiting his fate. But investigators began to suspect that there was more to Boyd's story than they knew. They feared that Patrece's disappearance was not an isolated incident. Boyd was eventually linked to as many as 10 unsolved cases of missing women. It's believed that Patrece might be one of those victims. Her disappearance wasn't just an anomaly. It was allegedly part of a dangerous pattern. But despite his conviction for Danya DaCosta's murder, Boyd has never been formally charged in Patrece's case. One of the many questions that still lingers is how many other lives were lost to Boyd's actions? Patrece Alston was young, full of life, and filled with the promise of the future. For over 20 years, Patrece's family has lived with the agony of not knowing. Her mother, her sister, her nieces, and nephews, all left to pick up the pieces of a life that was cut far too short. Her name is still etched in their hearts, but closure still, unfortunately, seems out of reach. My thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends of Patrece Alston, and I hope they're able to receive justice for Patrece as well as the closure that they deserve. Patrece Alston would be 45 years old today. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department continues to investigate, but her case is still unsolved, and her whereabouts remain unknown. Anyone with information about Patrece's disappearance should contact the Fort Lauderdale Police Department. Their number can be found in the description box below. As we close out this episode, don't forget to hit the follow button to stay updated on this case and others like it. Be sure to subscribe to Hunting for Answers on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more true crime. And if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a 5-star rating. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.